Ann. How's it going?
Hi. Oh my gosh. Vicky, I'm so pumped. I don't know why. Like, I'm just pumped when we get to do a podcast. I don't know why. Like, lately it has been like,
We're on
I'm so
fire,
pumped.
girl. We're on fire.
pumped.
But also, what we're going to be talking about today, we've been working
Yo.
up. We've been saving conversations, like all of the heat that we have, like everything about this project has been saved up for way too long, which is why I think you're pumped.
I am so pumped. And yes, this is a video only exclusive. I am
YouTube
so pumped.
exclusive.
Yes, we're going to be doing a little show and tell
Yep.
of this project. So Vicky and I worked on a silhouette that we've never worked on before.
How many people have worked on this silhouette before?
From my knowledge, 0.
I think I've seen one.
Oh,
maybe.
actually, I take that back. Yes, I have seen, there's like a fan art that I've seen somebody.
Oh, okay.
I think it was this silhouette, if not like an earlier model.
We're gonna have to
Maybe
see
it's
that
an
after.
earlier model.
Okay.
Shoot. Okay. But this is a brand we've never done before. This is a silhouette we've never done before. So it was a whole thing.
It's a whole thing. It's totally on brand with us because we're always talking about how we put a lot of effort into Nike, or everybody puts a lot of effort into Nike, and we like to explore like there are other brands out there with really cool, silhouettes, really cool shoes and stuff. So, this is totally what we set out to do. So definitely on brand, but
Totally. And I know you and I, if you've been following us for a while, listeners, love you so much. You know that Vicky and I love a good challenge. And we love to do things that, one, we've never done before. And two, hopefully very few people have tried.
right, like we've never seen before.
Right. And so, and I think like in previous podcasting episodes, I've talked about how the reason why I want to step away from doing Nike silhouettes. Again, this is not knocking on Nike. Hi. Love you. But, it's, to me, a lot of the silhouettes that we work on, the Nike silhouettes that we work on, are really iconic. So, for example, like the Air Force ones, the Air Jordan ones, 3, 4, whatever it is. So they're already like a really well-loved silhouette. So you can almost do the bare minimum to it. Somebody is going to like it.
Yo, I feel like this is a whole other episode. Why we don't necessarily want to do Nikes all the time. I'm like
Right.
so careful in trying to pick the words
don't
because
get
I'm like, it's not that I don't want to do Nike, but like why it's not on our priority as we're booking up projects throughout the year.
Yeah. And I think, and then so for me, I think there was one point last year where I was like, I want to get away from Nikes and doing silhouettes that people are familiar with because I really want to find out, are people in my community here for me because they like my style and design aesthetic?
Yeah.
Or do they just really like what I've done to these iconic silhouettes?
Right.
So like what happens when I start doing what I do on different silhouettes or start eventually doing my own original designs?
Right.
Right. So then, so this is actually a really good example of like, I mean, I'm personally super proud of the work that I've done, because it proves to me and myself that I can do something else on a different brand and a different shoe that people don't think of as a lifestyle shoe.
Yeah.
But it could very well be, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I'm so anxious, like I'm nervous and excited at the same time because at this point that we're filming this podcast, these shoes have not seen the world. The world has not seen what we've done to them, right? So we're kind of like, we're super excited, and that's why we're like bottling up all this excitement and emotions. But again, I have worked with several brands in the past that are kind of like not very well known, pretty unpopular, pretty new on the market. A lot of like sustainable brands, for example, and nobody knows what the shoe is. And a lot of times, like it's kind of hit or miss. Sometimes I'll get a good reaction from it, from my audience, and then other times it'll be like nobody cares. because it's not something, there's not a cult following. It's not an Air Force One that people immediately like know. Like you don't have to tell them a story. They're just like, oh, that's cool. I recognize that as an Air Force One, you know? And it's like these brands that don't have the, let's say, the hype behind it to really push your engagement. Those are the ones that are a little bit challenging.
Yeah, like these are definitely the type of shoes where like when you think about sneaker culture, these are definitely not a part of sneaker culture.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? I feel like we have these boxes. Is there like a logo on the back? There isn't, so they can't see what
they don't
this
even
is,
know what it
unless
is
they
yet.
see the top of the box.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have to remember we're doing a video version, so we can talk into the camera in front of us.
Yeah. We haven't done this before, but we should be practicing our thumbnail shots, you know?
Dude, right?
Because,
like look.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey,
FYI, the ones that all the thumbnails that are on YouTube, I didn't select them. It's auto selected because I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
So I just let YouTube do its thing.
Yeah.
So some of them were just like our faces are in weird, you know, positions and like postures.
Actually, I don't mind it. It's
I
like,
don't,
this is real.
I'm like, this is
real.
like a screen cap of the episode and like, you know. So anyways, yes, we have these boxes in front of us, but you don't know what they are. The logo's not facing your way.
Yes.
And okay, so this episode puts me in the feels because we've like we haven't really walked through what we're going to be talking about in this episode together, like between me and you off camera have not discussed what we're saying, and certain things I feel like we can say, certain things we can't say. So I'm really interested in how you're going to tell the story and how it's going to unfold in this episode.
I mean, there's nothing to unfold, people. There's no story to tell. This is really just like an episode about like, let's talk about this amazing work that I've done. Hello. Humble much? But we just want to take this opportunity because the hope is that in a short while, these will leave our hands and we will no longer have these. And we just really want to take a moment to document for ourselves while we still have them.
Yeah.
And so we thought that was a great opportunity for us to share with you on camera, again, like what these shoes are about, all the little details and that we've included, and just have a chance to talk about them. And hopefully it will live on forever, even though it's not in our hands anymore.
It's so funny. Okay, two things. One is what you're saying, like, you know, us talking about our shoes. This is a request from you guys, you know, like the viewers and listeners that have been watching our podcast and like supporting us. This was a request saying that like, hey, you guys work on sneakers. We don't really get a chance to dive deeper in a lot of your projects. So this is us responding to you guys, and you know, you ask and you shall receive. And then number two, I totally forgot what I was gonna say because you said something and it triggered a comment.
Like us documenting something that's going to be leaving our hands.
Yes. Normally, Anne has a lot of shoes that she's like kept for herself, you know? And like, so this is not something that you're used to, like making a piece that you don't want to part with and like,
I know.
You know, not wanting to give it away. And I don't want you to give it away, but like, you know,
I know.
You're going to have to. It's going to have to leave us.
Yo, guys, we didn't have enough time to get it together, but I'll just tell you guys, since you guys are here, like Vicky and I are separately working on our own packaging for this particular pair of shoes. And I was telling Vicky, you know, because, you know, she shared with me her concept and what she's going to be doing. And I was telling her that I was sad for her that she's going to have to part with that box. Not just the shoe, but like the box itself is so cool.
You'll see why. If you know me and you know what I like, you'll see why this is so, like, Anne knows. Anne knows that I'm going to, like, shed a tear when I have to part with this.
I know, but we're going to get lots of footage.
Yeah.
Hopefully we have time.
Yeah.
But without further ado.
Let's go.
Let's first...
Oh, we should turn the box around.
Yes, of the box. Like,
I'll show you the side.
Do y'all recognize? Okay, you're showing the side, so
Yeah.
there is a verbiage showing. So this is the SC30 logo, the Steph Curry logo. So we both worked on a pair of the Curry Flow 8.
Yep.
And so Actually, I don't even think I have a pair. Oh wait, do I?
Do you have the gold pair? Is that the same?
I do. Actually, I should grab that just to show what it looks like before yet.
Do it.
Please hold.
Okay, 1 second.
Okay, keep our listeners company.
This part, if I talk over it, we're going to have to keep it. And usually it's Ann because there's like a technical difficulty and I have to go and fix the camera. And so Ann's talking over this, but see, now I get to do what you do.
Ooh. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
So,
okay, show the people
So-
what the shoes look like, what we got and what we did with it, basically.
So this is an Under Armour Curry Flow 8.
Focus on it.
Oh yeah. We have
I
to
don't know.
like
If I
cover
cover
our
my
face
face,
because
maybe
the camera
it'll
will focus
focus on
on
it.
the shoe.
Let's hope.
And so this shoe is really interesting. So it's actually besides these like gold. So on this particular pair, this is like a white and gold pair, and where the gold is, so like on the lateral side and on the medial side, these are actually overlay like PU panels, but the majority of the body is the flat knitted upper. And so typically like the projects that we work on and are mostly leather uppers,
Yep,
PU
I would
leather
say so.
uppers, right? And so right away, you know, like maybe I'll talk about like what's the challenge for me, and then you can talk about what's challenging.
I
for
kind
you.
of want to I want you to dissect for us like what you see when you first get a pair of shoes like this. Like, where does your mind go, and like what do you consider when you're like, how am I going to do this? Like, if you're deconstructing it, remaking it, how, like, you know, what do you consider?
Yeah, and so maybe I'll briefly go into like what I do, because hopefully we have some new audience here today. But what I do that's different from Vicky is that I take existing shoes like this, and I traditionally, you know, we call the process like a deconstructing, which means you're going to take this finished shoe, you're going to break it all down, and then you're going to extract patterns out of it, figure out how to reconstruct it, and then cut your own materials to create sort of your own version of this shoe. And so typically that's what I do. Like, I basically break down an existing shoe and then make it from scratch with my own spin or colorway, right?
And we see a lot of people in the industry doing it. Our friends, you know, people doing exactly the same thing, but typically it's on like a Nike silhouette, like a very well-known silhouette. So
yeah, more iconic silhouettes,
right? More
for
iconic.
sure.
So like all of the you know patterns and things are kind of like roughly out there, so you kind of have a grasp. But one thing that I like respect so much about you is like Ann can take a look at one shoe and you have that skill set to be able to extract the pattern out of it, which is crazy.
You're sweet. Thanks, babe. Yeah, so when I first received the shoe and I took a look at it, honestly, like this in comparing to like a Nike Air Force One or like a Nike AJ1, like there really isn't a lot of pattern pieces as far as like overlays and underlays go. Like it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 7, 8, like 8 pattern pieces. You know, the average AJ3 pattern, actually with components, it's like over 60 pieces.
Oh, wow.
So
That's
this
a
with
huge
components
difference.
is probably like 15.
Okay.
If that. So this is like a very minimal, minimally constructed shoe as far as patterning goes. But yeah, so I basically had to kind of take all of this into consideration because again, I'm not used to working with, actually prior to this, I don't think I've ever worked with a flat knitted upper. Granted, like flat knitted, like I know it's so confusing. Like people think like, if it's knitted, it should be stretchy. It should be stretchy, but it's not always the case because when it's like a polyester fiber or nylon fiber, as soon as it hits heat, it shrinks the flat knitted fiber, and so it's no longer stretchy. So it's really more for the look than anything else. But in this particular case, it's super texturized. So I'm going to hand that to you so you can talk about some of your challenges when you approach this design.
Okay, so wait, immediate follow-up question for you is that, you were talking about how it's like not that stretchy, but then around the ankle area it is. Is that because of a different material, or is that like that it's knit differently?
So it's knit differently.
Okay, that's what makes it stretchy.
Yeah,
okay.
so it's more like a ribbing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Learning opportunities, you guys. All right, so this pair of shoes for me, it's kind of funny. When we got this project early last year, I was working on a pair of LeBrons. And the LeBrons actually had, I don't exactly remember the silhouette number for it, but the LeBrons had a lot of different components.
I think it was like 18 or
18
something.
is what I think as well, yeah. And oh my gosh, for what I do, the difference between what I do and what Ann does is Ann's able to, take apart the shoe and reconstruct it with a material of her choice. For me, I'm a customizer, so I would say majority of the work I do depends on the base material that the shoe is already made of. So I'm limited by what I have to work with is basically what the shoe is made out of. So when I see things like this, where there's like plastic components, PU components, shiny, glossy textures, that makes me want to run in the opposite direction, and
Wait, please hold. I just have to say that makes you want to run the other direction, but do you?
But
no.
Okay, and for multiple reasons. One, I like a good challenge, and two, a lot of times projects come your way, and clients don't necessarily choose the best shoe for you to customize on.
And
they
also,
choose the one they want.
Get canceled for saying this. Also, they don't care. Only because they don't know better, right? So they don't know. You're not gonna sit here for hours trying to educate them because they don't care to know why this doesn't work. This works.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you sort of have to take matters into your own hands and you're getting paid to solve this problem.
Right, exactly. To a client, it's like any surface is game. Why can't you just paint on any surface? You can paint on anything.
Patent leather? Yeah. Is that your favorite?
Oh, gosh. The longevity of paint on that, amazing,
Girl, being sarcastic.
Yeah, so literally this type of sneaker to me gives me nightmares because I have to think about how I can paint on top of it. The flat knit, like you were talking about, it isn't stretchy, but it's very porous, and it's got a lot of textures in it that make painting, let's say if you were doing character art, you were doing any kind of art that has to line up, the lines, you have to paint into grooves and, parts that stick out and stuff. So to make your image look like you can stencil on a lot of these. It's actually not that hard. But with the knit, you end up, when you put your foot in there and you stretch out the knit, you get a lot of white spots. So for me, the way that I like to paint, I always have to stretch it as I'm painting in order to try to get the paint as deep as possible so you don't see any empty areas that you haven't gotten to.
Pro tip for you right there.
Exhausting tip, because that makes the process so much longer. With a flat, PU leather surface, you just paint on, it's pretty flat, relatively flat as a shoe. But like on something like this, it's like painting on instant noodles. That's how I felt during the entire time. It's the grooves of like an instant noodle, like dried instant noodle packet.
Yeah. There's, if you ever get a hold of this shoe in person, or any Currys, actually even 9 or 10 right now are flat knitted tops, uppers. Yeah. There's just a lot of texture.
So much texture.
A lot of like concave, like holes and dips, that you have to fill out. And so it's definitely, I can see how this could be a really big challenge.
It's challenging.
Yeah. But would you say though, like, okay, so if y'all have been following Vicky for a while, which I'm sure you have because you guys are amazing, the LeBron 18 that she's talking about, to refresh everyone's memory, is the one, the Looney Tunes Space Jam shoe. And if you haven't seen it, please go to her on Instagram and see all the detail shots. Like, it's phenomenal. And I remember, like, again, what a privilege to be in your presence when you're working on these projects, because I see your struggles and I see your challenges, and you like, not that you welcome them, because like who welcomes challenges? We welcome challenges, but like we still cuss through it. Like, let's be real.
Oh yeah.
But it's like, I see her problem solve, and the way you can problem solve to where like from far away you can't even tell like it's a textured knitted upper like that. And also that pair of shoes, again, if you haven't seen it, you have to go see it.
Funny thing is, I haven't even posted the final shots of it.
Girl!
That shoe, it's been so long
Bits
because,
and pieces.
you know, things have happened. But yeah, I mean, again, that's the reason why we do what we do, because part of why I love working on these textures is you're trying to make it so that it looks like you've printed this image on top of these rough surfaces that aren't even that perhaps a machine is not able to do right now, you know? And I value that in the art that I'm creating, is that why am I doing it if, you know, Nike can just send it to their factories and reproduce a billion of them, right? But with the human hand, you can do things to make it look like, even though it goes from, it's like changing like matters. It goes from a smooth surface to like a knitted surface to like another smooth surface, but a different material, you know?
Also, I feel like that shoe prepared you for the shoe.
Oh, totally. You never know. You know, you work on projects and you're like, oh, I hate this so much. And then the universe brings it all full circle and is like, here's your next project that required all of that practice.
I've already done it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I already know how to do this.
Yeah.
You know, which is insane because I remember that particular shoe. It's like, there's so many overlays, underlays, like, you know, and like upper components, and then all the like different texture that crosses over each other. Like that one was crazy.
It was so hard. It took me so long to do.
It looks so good though. It looks
Thank you.
phenomenal.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Okay, so
we like talked for half an hour and didn't even show
we
them
have
the
like
sneakers.
10 minutes to show you guys before we run out of time. But I'm gonna put on my gloves.
Yes.
I know I'm like
We should.
Yes,
We should always.
We're being very careful with this particular pair.
You guys, I'm so excited for you to see what Ann has cooked up for this because,
Girl.
and like, again, such a pleasure to be in your presence because I feel like you always impress me with like your ideas. And I'm like, that is so cool. Like literally,
so sweet.
it's amazing. And like, we'll have, you know, we both occupy the studio and sometimes, you know, I'll have like people come in. I'm like, yeah, so my studio mate does this and she builds the entire shoe from ground up. Like, you know, I have my spiel, okay? I have my tour guide spiel for you.
Listen.
And it is so impressive what you do.
Likewise.
Just saying.
Likewise, girl. Every time somebody comes in here, I'm like, check out what my studio mate does. It's so cool. But, love you.
Girls support girls.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready for this?
So, should we do one at a time?
I think you should go first.
Wait, should I go first?
Yeah.
Wait, should I do like one at a time with the pair? Maybe the pair.
Do the pair.
Okay.
And then go through it one at a time and
Okay.
share with us your.
So,
Oh my God, they're so
okay,
good.
I'll show them together, and then so the fam can see. So
You guys.
So I did.
Can I hold one up for
thank
you on this side?
So I did an asymmetrical pair, because that's what I like to do.
Honestly.
And so, and that's partially due to sort of the limited materials that I have for this particular pair of shoes. And so, and I just really wanted to utilize both materials. And so I thought the best way is to showcase them on each side of the shoe. And so this is this is an Under Armour Curry Flow 8 model. And I'll let Vicky speak about hers. So I created this with Steph Curry in mind.
Yeah.
And so, and again, you know what, like his story, who he's about, what is his legacy, and who does he represent to me as a girl from the Bay Area, you know, and he plays for the Warriors. And so I just really wanted to like build the shoe with him in mind. And so on this right side of the shoe, I basically took apart a player's jersey, and
She says this so casually. Like the choice in material, she literally took Steph Curry's jersey, like his actual like player's jersey, and used it as a material to build her shoe.
Yes.
Don't downplay any
So,
of this.
I mean,
because,
girl,
like,
okay,
oh my
listen.
God.
Like, okay, real talk. Like, I definitely had my challenges with the jersey because it's like polyester based. And so any textile materials that I use for my upper, I usually back it with like a reinforcement or like a stiffener, just to again make the really thin polyester material. Like any of you who are familiar with jerseys knows that they're really thin.
Yeah.
But then in order to attach a reinforcement to it, I typically have to take an iron to it, like a heat iron to it, in order for the adhesive to melt onto the polyester.
Right.
So
So you're like making it thick enough so that you can use it to build the panels of the shoe.
exactly,
Okay.
yeah. So with like shoemaking too, like a lot of times, like we're lasting around the toe, so we're pulling and zhuzhing, so like definitely requires like strength around like the bottom of the shoe. Yeah, so I definitely like have burned like some pieces of the jersey because my heat was too high. So this is where like I know what I'm doing, but sometimes like you're like, oh crap, like especially when you're faced with like limited materials.
Yeah.
Like you can't. There's no room.
And it's like a
to
one.
F
You
up.
have one jersey. It's not like you have 20 jerseys laying around for you to f up and try again.
Yeah, and so like for this particular player's jersey, like there's the very iconic Bay Bridge logo at the chest, and so I really wanted to incorporate that like on the lateral side, so you can it's like highly recognizable when you see it. And again, like with the white and the blue and the yellow, like it's really nice to be able to sort of like sandwich that in between like all the patterns. Again, like I only had one shot to do it, and so like I'm pretty pleased with how it turned out. And then, yeah, and so I actually went and got like custom dies made. Like the logo that you see here on the heel side of the lateral panel has his logo on it, which matches back to the original shoe.
So you had to you had to create that. You had to purchase. So a die, is that like the not the stencil, but the thing that you use back here.
Yeah, so like a heat stamp die.
Like a
and
stamp,
so like
right.
I have to recreate the logo, like create like a vector art, and then get it sent to
Get that custom made.
Yeah. And then, so it's like a few weeks process, and then it comes back, and then I can like stamp it. And then, yeah, so like also like the Curry logo on the back heel tab, and also the SC logo on the tongue. So all of that was like a special die that was made, and also the stars on the back heel, which represents their championship. Yeah. So this is the right side of the shoe. And on the left side, I actually took an NBA basketball, and I took it apart. And then I only had one ball. So again, like very little like wiggle room to F up. And so I really wanted to incorporate, again, like if we're building the shoe around the story of Curry, like he's a kick-ass basketball player. And so like how do we incorporate like his money-making tool without making it look like super cheesy, right? Hopefully I achieved that, but that's just me. But
1,010%.
you're very sweet. And so, yeah, so I took apart the basketball. And then I also, like, taking it apart was, like, insane. Like, you were here when you saw me take it apart, Vicky. Like, it was...
Like, she brought in a basketball, and this is like a regulation basketball as well. And I'm like, you're gonna do what with it? Is this possible? And this is an example of how Ann in the studio always is like, we can make shoes out of anything. And you've put that, to practice here, because I didn't know that you could. And also, can I just say, this reminds me, circulating on the internet, it went viral, was like, people making shoes out of basketballs, wallets out of a basketball. I'm like, this girl literally took a jersey and literally took a basketball and dissected it. And you didn't just use the outside of the basketball. Please tell us what this triangular pattern is.
Okay. So...
It's so much better than what's circulating on the internet.
You're so
I'm
sweet.
Sorry.
So, I mean, that ball, like any like professional balls that you see out there, they are well made. They are so well made. And so like deconstructing it was a nightmare. Like it took me so long, and
Yeah.
my hands were hurting from like
Oh, wow.
pulling and like heating and all that crazy stuff. But after I was able to pull it apart, it's like super fun because like how often do you get to see the inside of a basketball and come to
I
find
didn't
out
even know what it looks like.
right?
Yeah.
Everyone's always so surprised when they're like, when I point out like, yeah, so this like kind of like fibrous thready part is the backside of the
Oh, it's like
basketball.
the
It's
inside
like the
if you
inside.
inverted a basketball.
Right.
Okay.
And so basically I dissected a whole basketball, and then to add contrast to the overlay pattern, I basically reversed the basketball along with like the right side up and the back side of the basketball, and then I stitched it into a triangular patchwork.
So
And then-
essentially you had to create a custom piece of leather with this like
Yep.
alternating inside outside with triangular patterns, and then stitched all along it to make it one cohesive
Yep.
piece,
Yeah.
right? And then cut the pattern out
Yep.
of it. You're exhausted,
Right on,
girl.
girl. I mean, who are you to talk? Okay, calm down. Yeah, so that's kind of what you see here. Yeah, and then so for the back heel, I sort of matched like the other side, so they're both gold on the back side to kind of bring it all together. And then it's really, really hard to see in like on the camera, but so like where you see this black area that's underneath the overlays, the basketball overlays, is this like really beautiful cowhide, finished cowhide. And I mean, girl, I don't even want to get into how crazy and challenging it was. But
You should get into how crazy and challenging it was.
I'll sort of describe like what's on this leather. So like on camera, you can probably just see like it's a black piece of leather, but if you get to look at it like up close and personal, I lasered like a mini basketball court onto this black piece of leather before I cut out the pattern. And because again, building the shoe off of the Curry and the Curry brand, his C logo is actually derived from the 3-point line. Splash Bros, hello. So basically, to me, that was super relevant, to the shoe. And then his nonprofit organization is called Eat, Learn, Play. And so, you know how like when you like professional basketballs or like professional football fields, like on the edge of their field or their court, they'll usually have like the name of like their team or whatever sponsors they have, right?
Yeah.
And so I use that like edge of the court to put Eat, Learn, Play. And then at the center of the court, usually it's like the team's logo or whatever. I included the Eat, Learn, Play logo. So again, like everything is like built and relevance to his life and his legacy and the life that he's trying to create. And and then so on top of that, it's hard to see. And
I was hoping I
I
literally was keeping in mind. I'm like, don't forget to talk about this, Ann.
okay,
Don't
I
forget to talk
won't.
about
But
this.
like it's underneath the shoelace is hard to see. But again, I wanted to use as much of the materials that I had to. Again, like just really drive it in, like this is a Curry shoe for Curry. And so on the tongues, like if you look at it from the top down, from the front of the shoe, it reads 30, which is his number. So it's his number that I cut out from the back of the jersey. So I was glad that like in terms of like size, like it fit really well.
What a clever way to use the jersey. Like
Thanks,
when you said that, I
babe.
was like, genius. Yes. Like putting the 3 and the 0 on the tongue, it fits perfectly and it incorporates like it's such a good use of the jersey and the materials that you have.
Thanks,
Yeah.
babe.
Oh, they're so good.
thanks,
I
babe.
love them so much.
Appreciate you.
And I feel like it's like this is like an example of what you can do when you're creating, like truly creating a custom around a story. And I feel like both of us felt that type of like connection, I guess, to Curry. It's not like we know Curry or anything, but we felt this instant connection because, I mean, at the end of or at the beginning of every project, we really like to like look into what we're working on, who we're doing this for, you know, and like so many points in time when I was like, oh, I feel that instant like relatability and connection to Curry, and you incorporated so much of that into the shoe that's like, it's so incredibly thoughtful. Like you even put his organization in there and like all the things like she engraved that into a leather. So like this girl's like just a piece of like really soft leather was not enough. I have to do more, you know? And it's like, it's
Girl, we
so
extra around
good.
here.
We super extra. But like, it looks so good.
Thanks.
It looks so
Thanks,
good.
babe.
I want you to keep them. And you know what? This actually makes me like remember your football and soccer AJ1s that you did, because I feel like that kind of sort of it lends into this a little bit too, because you deconstructed a soccer ball and a football and created, you know, a pair of Jordans out of those too.
Yeah.
And like those
Honestly,
are crazy.
like I have to say, like this concept was definitely inspired partially by my Telesso ones.
Yes.
If you haven't seen it, it's on my Instagram.
So good.
It's one of my favorite shoes that I've built.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like asymmetrical and like you get to tell a different story on a different side of the shoe. So, which is what I love.
Yeah.
But let's get into yours and
gosh.
how you tell your side of the story differently.
Okay.
Let's do
All right.
that.
Let's see these guys. Man. All right.
Girl.
I'll send you a pair. Of course, if you know me and you've been on my page since the very beginning. Yo, this story started like quite a long time ago. When I first went on Instagram, one of the very first pairs of shoes that I did were a pair of Air Force Ones, and in this Sour Patch Kid theme. I love Sour Patch Kids. I have so many like I'm not like a plushy person. I have so many things in the studio that are like Sour Patch Kid themed. And it just makes me so happy. Now, how this relates to Steph Curry and why this is on the shoe, this is actually even more perfect to be on the Currys instead of an Air Force One, because you know, if you read up on a bit of like Curry's story, he actually spent a lot of time in Toronto. And if you didn't know, I'm a Toronto gal through and through, born and raised.
Why did he spend time in Toronto?
Because his dad was playing on the team in Toronto. And that is also where he met his wife. So he met Aisha there, and they like, I think they bonded. I don't know how true this is, but I read this and I was like, oh, perfect love story. Bonded over sour candies that were found like only in Toronto. And the Sour Patch Kid factory is actually super close to where I live in Toronto. So, you know, I have like this instant connection. I'm like, you love Sour Patch Kids, I love Sour Patch Kids. Yes, let's get this, you know? So like literally when we were talking about doing a Curry shoe, I was like, can I please put Sour Patch Kids on these shoes?
Yes.
And like,
Yes,
of course, Curry has released Sour Patch Kid, I guess his like.
It's like a general release, I think.
Yeah. And multiple
Like Sour
ones.
Patch Kids inspired Curry shoes.
Right, exactly. He's had some a couple years ago, and I've watched videos on those. I was a little unimpressed, to be honest, because it was just like, you know, fluorescent green, fluorescent orange, you know, and
Which understandably so, you know, for something that's more mass market, like color blocking is almost always the way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
understandably
Yeah.
so. Yeah, so I was like, I can do better.
Yeah.
So
Let me do it the Vicky
yeah,
way.
and so for these, of course, I'm like Ann, I don't like to do things twice. So typically the sneakers are going to be slightly different, even if it's just a color change.
Wait, can we talk about one by one?
Yes.
Okay, which one do you want to go first?
The one that Ann's holding
Okay,
right
here.
now is, okay.
Yeah. When you talk about it.
Okay. So the one that I'm holding, this is the left foot, is the regular Sour Patch Kid colorway. And basically, I created this like Sour Patch, basically it's Curry in Sour Patch Kid form, you know, and he's holding up like his 3 fingers, and he's got his jersey with his number 30 on it.
Thing. I'm so obsessed.
And I
It's
was like,
so cute.
But at first, do you remember when I like I was sketching? I'm like, Ann, what if I made Curry into one of the kids? And she's like, do it.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
so like
So
I actually
cute.
did it. And
Wait, and also, of course, you picked like a blue kid.
yeah, I mean,
Tell us about the blue kid.
My favorite color is the blue. Well, my favorite flavor is blue, and I love the extreme sour one. So then, of course, obviously, Curry had to be the blue one. And you know, majority of this was not stenciled. It was freehand drawn, and I think that was the difficulty of it, but also in my mind, one of the only ways to do it because of how, like we were talking about the knit, it had to be, like technique wise, you had to make sure that the paint was mixed with, you know, like a flexible medium so that it can stretch, you know, because it is a knit. The ankle part of it does have to be stretchy in order to get your foot in, you know. So this was this size, and of course, like Curry is such a family guy, so it says family size on the near the toe area. And then again, like we're saying, we personalize this for Curry, you know, so everything is trying to incorporate his story with it. So his birthday is on Pi Day, which is 3/14. So it says 314 calories per shoe on the corner. So it's just like the little
so cute.
details that we like played in, you know? And again, painting this was like, it took a really long time. Ann and I were like racing. We're like, who's going to get it done first? And like, we got it done pretty much like the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's so cute.
yellow and green.
The level of details. Oh, like seriously, guys, like look at just like zoom in and look at a little Curry guy.
With a
It's
little,
so
like-
cute.
like little sour crystals on top. Yeah, I mean, everything was just hand painted, and
So freaking
it's
cute.
actually really difficult. So two of the most challenging colors to paint with are yellow and lime green. Like they tend to be streaky, they tend to not have good coverage, and if you mess up underneath yellow, it's gonna show through. So that was a really difficult shoe to like keep everything crisp and clean.
Yeah, and then before you move on to the next one, I just want to say again, like we make our shoes to be worn, and I think this shoe probably would have been easier if you didn't have to make it to be worn, right?
Yeah.
Because then you don't have to worry about like somebody actually slipping their foot in the shoe
Yeah.
and actually stretching the material a little bit and then seeing all the white specks underneath.
Exactly. Yes. And like if like around the ankle area, if you even just like stretch it a little bit, you'll see I tried as best as I could to really get the paint in there, because otherwise, like, I mean, Curry has pretty slim feet. Oh my God, I can't believe I just like said that, because like we research everything.
Yeah.
I think he has pretty narrow feet, but like imagine, you know, somebody having to wear the shoe that really stretched it out, and then it would be like, you know, like a badly done tattoo that like, you know, it's
Yeah.
all warped and everything. And
Yeah.
again, you know, it's like from the knit to the PU part of it, how do you get that seamless transition of the lines without, you know, kind of edges not lining up, and like that was probably one of the most difficult parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cute. Wait, can you talk about the other side?
Okay, so the other side, I feel like this is like a bit of me, because although I love Sour Patch Kids through and through, my favorite kind, the only box that I will eat are the super sour ones. And even then, Anne can vouch, they're not that
Not
sour.
sour
We wish
enough.
they were like twice as sour.
Yeah.
But this side, so is the extreme side. So just to like change it up a little bit and give it like, you know, that mismatched pear feel. So of course, the blue kid on this side is evil. We have like an evil blue boy here.
So cute.
And, you know, again, all the aspects of it just have like, so the net weight on the inside of the shoe says 3.14. So another ode to Curry himself. And yeah, just having like a different colorway, you know, incorporating the pink Sour Patch Kids and making this like more of a fun piece. Because I feel like even with Curry's own Sour Patch Kid releases, they're all kind of pretty much the same. You know, you get the same matching shoes, and having just mismatched pair is like right up my alley. So these are, I don't know, I had so much fun doing this, and I remember like just
So cute.
stressing over it so much because
Yeah, the sock liner was kind of
stretch and stuff.
Yeah. But like you're not afraid for somebody to go up there and like try it
Right.
and expand
and
it
it's not
because
just
it's
gonna
like
be white on the inside.
yeah,
because
not worry about
know,
it.
Yeah.
Can I tell you my favorite part of the shoe? I mean, yes, we love the little like curry guy on the left side, but I love like the way this logo, like the SC30 logo and also the Extreme logo is executed. I love, like, I know this is all done by hand, so it's not like a stencil type of work, but like this sort of like, it's hard to see, but hopefully we can post some photos about this shortly after we post this video. But just like the detail on like, you know, this like kind of irregular splash look, it's not easy to achieve, you know?
Just like customizing everything and
Yeah.
making it, you know,
Like the splash is not an accident, it's all planned.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so like even like down to your like logo, you know, to kind of like, how do I bring my logo, you know, to a part of the shoe that is relevant, you know, to the design of the shoe. And so it's super thoughtful. Like,
Thanks,
it's
Ann.
so cute.
I'm sitting
I
here
love
like,
it
yes, tell
so
me more.
much. It's so cute.
yeah.
It's so cute. It's so cute.
I'm so excited. Like, don't even have to give me an extra excuse for me to paint Sour Patch Kids. But also on the inside, you probably can't see it, but there are custom, like,
It's hard to see.
insoles that have Sour Patch Kids on the inside. So there's an evil one on the extremes. Like, there's an evil blue one, and then there's, and I don't remember what color that one is. Red?
This one is orange.
Or regular orange, yeah.
Yeah.
Orange one. And so, like, through and through, like, you can dig into the shoes, and it has Sour Patch Kid elements in it. So, super fun.
Not sponsored, looking for a sponsorship.
Oh, my God.
I haven't
Hit
said
me
that in a
up,
while.
Please. yeah. yeah.
Here, we'll put these up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, this is our Under Armour Steph Curry Flow 8 project.
Yeah. And I mean, okay, Anne, back to where you were saying that this one has less panels than like a regular, let's say AJ3 or something like that. Was it easier or harder? Was it like what was the difficulty level for you making these shoes?
Honestly, this shoe is actually not hard to make.
Okay.
But as with every model that I'm making for the first time, so like this is the third one. So this complete pair is the third pair that I made. And so like every time I try a new pattern, I always do pullovers, which is industry lingo for prototypes.
Yeah.
And then you go and readjust your patterns.
Oh, you did. Wait,
Yeah.
you made prototypes of these. You should have brought
Yeah.
them to show
know, girl.
us. I know. Okay,
It's
next
all
time.
good. Yeah, I have a whole
Yeah.
like box of like
Yeah,
artifacts.
yeah,
So like this shoe overall, like construction wise, is pretty easy to make. But I think the challenge for me, and this is where like I really admire your sort of demand on like wear testing, because again, like I'm used to making Air Force Ones or AJ ones, and
You can do those
you
with your eyes
sort of
closed.
know like how they fit.
Right.
And I've never personally worn a pair of Curry Flow 8 in my size. And so I don't actually know how they should fit
Right.
when it's on your feet. Yes, you can definitely wear these. Like they're designed to be worn. But if, for example, somebody like Curry were to wear these, it's going to feel 1,000% different than this.
Right.
You know, because again, like material is different, cushion is different, foam is different. And so that's kind of one downside that I wish I had an opportunity to do is to make a pair out of non-flat knit and then try it out for myself how it actually fits because I might want to make modification to how the inside components
Right.
are fitted, you know? So just minor things like
And
that.
that
So
like goes
yeah.
to say, you know, all the time when we're talking about, you're a little more hesitant to make something like cleats, like performance sneakers, right? Because they're made in a very specific way to target, you know, how the player plays and what they do with it
Yeah.
on the court. And it has to sustain a lot more than just regular shoes that, you know, your average Joe is going to be wearing down the street.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, so if these were to ever get into Curry's hands, I would put a little warning sign.
Right.
That, please do not wear it to play basketball.
Right.
Please only wear it to special events.
Yeah.
You know?
Like when you need a killer pair of customs to show off.
These will hold up.
Yeah.
But these are, I don't feel confident because I haven't wear test them to play a basketball game in,
Right.
You know? So that would just be
They're going to be incredible.
what do we think?
Oh my gosh. I'm so sad that we have to part with them very soon. But honestly, this was so much fun. And again, would try this again on different silhouettes because this opens your eyes to I feel like a lot of people are stuck on the fact that you just have to use popular shoes, but you can have so much fun with this. And I literally told Ann the other day, I'm like, I was watching Curry play in his new silhouette. I'm like, do I need to get a pair of those? Because they start to grow on you and you're
They
like,
do.
Maybe I actually,
so they just came out with one call, I think I totally might be getting this wrong, but I think it's called the Curry Flex.
Mm-hmm.
I literally saw it yesterday, and I think it's Under Armour. Please don't kill me for saying this wrong because I'm trying to get a sponsorship. Hi,
sponsor us.
But it looks like it's more of a lifestyle shoe than it is a sporty shoe,
right?
Because it has more design elements and details going on the side.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't immediately scream this is a performance shoe to me,
right?
Which I was like, oh, that looks really interesting. I would totally buy that and try it out.
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone that I've talked to who is a real athlete or knows somebody who's a real athlete, they all love the comfort and performance of the Currys.
Right.
And that's why, even if you see on, the warm-ups or the practice court in, basketball games, the Warriors basketball games, you'll see a lot of his teammates wearing his shoes.
They're wearing them, yeah.
Yeah, because they're actually really great basketball shoes.
Right, and they're, modeled and engineered for performance and for Curry, you know? So, damn, maybe we need to get ourselves a pair.
I know. I really think I might. But, I mean... maybe they'll hook us up.
You heard it here first.
But yes.
So thank you guys so much. I love doing this because I feel yes, especially with this pair that's going to leave us very soon, when we post on Instagram, there's only so much that you get to see. You get a lot of still pictures, you get videos, but it's all really quick content. So let us know if you enjoy hearing us break down the process and the components and features of the shoe, because this could be a recurring thing for a lot of big projects that we have coming up. And I hope you guys like it. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Yay.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you so much. If you like this episode, please comment, subscribe, share with your buddies to help more people find this particular episode.
Yes. Thank you for joining us. See you guys next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Or jazz hands.
It's very Michael Jackson.
Okay, we're going to keep this part right. Okay, great.
These are fake bloopers.
Okay.
Boop.